Hi everyone. Okay, so today we are going to do a follow-up lesson to order of operations to try and break it down just a little bit more so that we can try to fix any misconceptions or fix any areas that you might be a little bit confused in. So first of all, let's talk about why they call it the order of operations. So operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So the reason why we call it order of operations is because anytime you see a big math problem that has many symbols in it, you have to be able to solve it in a way that follows a certain set of rules. And so we know right away if we see more than one operation that we have to follow a set of rules. So the operations are math symbols, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And the reason why we call it the order of operations is because it's just the way or the list, the step-by-step, the order in which we have to solve them. So it's called the order of operations, so that way we know what to do first, what to do second, what to do third, and so on. Okay, so the order part, the order of operations tells us how to solve. Okay, how to solve and which order, which step to do first. Which order or step to do first. Okay, so that is the reason why it is called the order of operations. Now, hopefully that helps out just a little bit more with why we call it the order of operations and maybe helps with the confusion part. So let's talk a little bit more about this order part and how these operations play into the order part. So we're going to talk first about how do we perform them and what are they? So in elementary school, you may have heard gems or gemmas or PEMDAS or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay. Some of these things are really confusing because what they really are just a way to help you remember the order in which to solve. However, they don't remind you to do things from left to right, which is the part that we really want to focus on. So we want to focus on the left to right part, not so much the order of operations acronym or the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. The PEMDAS we're going to use as a checklist. Gemmas, we can use that if you want to. It's just another checklist. But we're going to really focus on the order to do this in. Okay, so first we're going to start with P. And P stands for parentheses. So P is your parentheses. And it's parentheses like this, which are called brackets, or fancy schmancy parentheses like this. Okay, so first thing to do is the parentheses. I always forget how to spell it because it's such a long word. Okay, so step one is parentheses. Then you have step number two. Okay, so step number two is your E, and this is your exponents. So these are things like 2 to the power of 2, or 4 to the power of 3, or I'm going to use an X to the power of Y, because maybe we don't know. Okay, so these are exponents. And again, we know from our last section that exponents are just saying Like this one here is just saying 4 times 4 times 4. So really it's just either like making it longer or squishing it together and wearing it on its backpack. Okay, so that's what that one is, exponents. So step 2 is E for exponents. So that's where the E comes from. Now, here's where it can get the confusing part, because we want to make sure that we understand that this is the left to right part. It doesn't matter which order multiplication or division comes in. So the next part is called MD, or you can call it DM. And it doesn't matter because step 3 is interchangeable. So step 3 can be anything from left to right that is multiplication or division. So we're going to look for either multiplication or division, or we can look for division or multiplication. But we are going to read it from left to right. So that's how we're going to solve it, left to right. So read and solve left to right. I'm going to put read and I'll put solve above it because I want you to solve it as well. Solve and read from left to right. So that I'm going to draw a little arrow too. Let's draw an arrow. That will help us to remember. Okay. Now the next step is step number 4. Okay, and step number 4 is all about addition and subtraction. So addition and subtraction, or it can come the other way around, just like multiplication and division. So it can come the other way and it can go subtraction and addition, just like this one. So we can do adding or subtracting, or we could start with subtraction and end with addition. It doesn't matter because we're going to read and solve from left to right. So whichever comes first in the number sentence, that's the one we do first. So we are going to solve / read from left to right. And again, I'll draw a little arrow there so that you can remember that. All right, let's put it into some action and let's see. At this point, if you have any questions about these 4 steps, you should come back to class and ask the teacher. So right now, if you are stuck on what any of this means, you should go back and ask me what's going on with this and get clarification on anything that we just talked about. So pause the video and go ask, or if you're ready to move on to the next example, we're going to move on. All right, so our first example that we're going to look at looks like this. We are going to use the order of operations to solve this problem. It says 24 plus 20 times 4. Okay. So I know when I see this problem right here that I have to use this list. And I know that because I see more than one operation. So because I see addition and I see multiplication, I know that I'm going to have to do 2 different steps in order to solve this. So let's try a strategy where we're going to try to identify what we should do first and then next, because we see how many operations we have. So this tells me I have 2 operations. I have 2 operations here. I have addition and multiplication. So I'm now going to come up here and I'm going to look and see. Well, I know multiplication is step 3, which comes step 4. So my first step is actually going to be multiplication. So I need to multiply first, then I can add. So I'm going to do multiplication first. Then I can add. Adding will come second. Okay, so adding was orange, so I'm going to do add second. All right, so let's go ahead and solve this. So I'm going to multiply first, and I know that 2 times 4 is 8 and a 0, so that gives me 80. Now I'm just going to drop down the rest of this problem, and now I'm going to do the second step, which was addition. So I'm going to come over here, and now I'm just going to add these. And I know that 80 plus 20 is 100, plus 4 is 104. That is my first problem. So here I listed which operations I needed to do, and I looked at my checklist to see which ones I should do first. If that strategy helps you, please use that strategy. So this is just another strategy to try to help you understand how to solve the order of operations. So let's do another one now that has some parentheses in it. Let's try that one. All right, so we have this example now, and it says to evaluate 27 divided by 9 minus 6 plus 10. Okay, my first step then is going to be to add up all my operations. So I'm going to look and see how count my operations, see how many operations I have. So I have 1, 2, 3 operations. 3 operations. And I have division, subtraction, and addition. Okay, is there anything special here that you see? Yes, we do. We have something special here. So I also have parentheses. So now I'm going to add my parentheses into my operations because parentheses are now going to count as an operation because they're a symbol. They're a math symbol. So I'm going to change this 3 now to a 4. Do you understand why I did that? If you don't understand why I changed this 3 to a 4, you need to come and ask me in the Google Meet. Okay? So I changed this to a 4 to say 4 operations because now I have parentheses, and parentheses are counting as an operation because I can use them to multiply eventually. I'm going to use them to do all different kinds of things in math. They separate, they tell me what to do first. Okay, so now that I have 4 operations, I'm going to see which thing I need to do first. So right away in my checklist, it says I have this symbol. This symbol says P, and parentheses go first. So 1 is parentheses. So my first step is parentheses. So that means whatever is in my parentheses, I'm going to do first. And I'm going to follow the order of operations inside my parentheses. So if there's more than one operation in the parentheses, I have to do this all over again. But there's not. There's only one. So 9 minus 6 is 3. Good. Okay, so 9 minus 6 is 3. I'm going to then add 10. I could have gotten rid of those parentheses, and I probably should have. I'm sorry, I didn't. My parentheses are now gone. So I'm done with parentheses, and I will get rid of those because we use them. There's nothing there. Okay, now let's look. Parentheses are gone. I've solved those. Now let's see what I have left up here. I have division, subtraction, and addition. Well, division comes in my list first, so we're going to divide. So we know that 27 divided by 3 is 9. So we're going to go ahead and second step, we will divide. So I'm going to come over here and I am going to go 27 divided by 3, and that is 9. Then I'm going to drop down the rest of my problem here, which is plus 10. So I have used up division. Okay, now I am looking at 2 symbols left over. So let's talk about these 2 symbols. I had subtraction and I had addition. Well, my subtraction symbol disappeared when I solved parentheses. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that out because I don't need to worry about that one because it was in the parentheses. And if you want, you could come up here and put it in the parentheses so you know that it's gone. I'm going to do addition last. So my third step is now going to be addition. So I'm going to add 9 plus 10, and I get 19. Okay, how are you feeling so far? If you need some help, make sure that you come back and you ask for help. This is the time to be asking for help. Okay, so now we're going to do one more problem together. And in this problem, we're going to throw in some exponents. So we're going to throw exponents at you, and we will survive them together because exponents are now going to become a symbol as well because they mean multiplication. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this problem. Our last problem is problem letter C, and it says 4 plus 6 in parentheses, so 4 plus 6. And I have that it is divided by 2. Divided by 2 times 2 to the third. All right, so now I'm going to count up all of my operations. Remember, exponents are operations because we're multiplying. So that is really going to become a multiplication. We also have division and we have parentheses again. So I'm just going to write them in the order that I see them. So how many operations do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one tells me I have 5 operations. Okay, my operations that I see parentheses, I see addition, I see division, I see multiplication, and I see an exponent. So I'm just going to write it all out like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and start solving now. So my first step I know is parentheses because my checklist tells me. So I'm going to look for my parentheses. Inside my parentheses is addition. So I'm going to solve addition first. 4 plus 6 is 10. And then the rest of this now, I am just going to drop down. So first step was parentheses, and in my parentheses I had to add. So I actually got rid of 2 symbols. Okay, next up in my order of operations is exponents. So I'm going to do exponents next, which is 2 to the third. So my second step is 2 to the third. So I'm going to come over here and I am now going to solve 2 to the third. So this is the same thing as saying 2 times 2 times 2. And I'm going to drop down the rest of this problem. All right, now my exponents are gone. I need to still solve this exponent right here. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So that really is an 8. So my exponent had a value of 8. And that took me 2 steps to get rid of that exponent. Sorry that this blue pen is still running out. I need to open my new pack of pens. Okay, so now we're going to look and see what do we have next. So my next operation is division. Oh, but I also have multiplication. So I'm coming up here and my rule tells me multiplication or division from left to right. So it doesn't matter which comes first. I'm doing it from left to right. It doesn't matter to my checklist which one comes first. It matters down here which one comes first. So my third step is going to be division because when I read it left to right, that's the first symbol I see. So divide 10 divided by 2, that gives me 5. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now I'm going to drop down the rest of this. And my last step, I'm still on multiplication. So my fourth step to finish this out is to multiply. So 5 times 8 gives me 40. And I'm done with this one. Hopefully this process, these extra steps of writing it out and making it a little bit more step by step helps you. You can now head over to your practice work, use these notes, apply this concept of writing out the steps on paper. Don't try to solve order of operations in your head. There are way too many steps to do to try to get them into your head, okay? So take what you learned right now, and I want you to go and apply it on your practice work. Okay, so there is some practice work over in Google Classroom. So head on over there, see what it is, and if you have any questions before you do that, please come back and ask me so that I can help you. Otherwise, make it a great day the Cougar way. Have an awesome, awesome day. Thank you so much for your hard work and ownership of your learning. It's really important to own your learning. Awesome job today, Cougars.